Hello and welcome. This has been one of my all-time favorite builds, primarily because all of the lumber came from the same tree, and the veneer, it was a flitch of 27 pieces, and of course they're all going to match. Now, before we get into a lot of the finished photos, I'd like to show you a few aspects that made this not only unique, but very fun to build. So here are only 4 boards from about 180 board feet of 4/4 that I ordered. And then I also had 40 board feet of 8/4. All right, so here they are stacked up in order, 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. And you can see all the annular rings, right? And this one, I don't know if that shows up. Yeah, so you can see this ribbon of sapwood, so that's near the outside perimeter. And then this one's probably closer toward the center, which is testament to this crack, so you want to avoid that area. And of course these are too wide to use just like that, so I'll cut those into smaller pieces and reconfigure them, but still the grain and the color and the tone is going to match. And all this lumber came from Irion Lumber out of Pennsylvania. I will definitely be using them again. One thing that made this job enjoyable is that I was able to cut this material and let it climatize for weeks. And the veneer as well was awesome and beautiful because, of course, it all came from the same board. So it's all sliced sequentially and everything matches. You get this beautiful tone, or if you need to match grain patterns, that's just simply something that you cannot do with solid lumber. So all the veneer was utilized for the panels. And all this incredible veneer came from Sowers Veneer, Larry Sowers, fantastic people to work with. And look at that incredible figure. So this was all ordered as figured cherry. Now these panels are fresh out of the vacuum bag and they're constructed of 5 pieces. You have 2 layers of plywood, thin plywood, a layer of veneer in between, cross-banded perpendicular to the grain of the plywood, and then 2 outside face veneers. And here you can see just how warped those single pieces of plywood would be had I not done the additional construction. If you're new to the world of veneer or maybe thinking about exploring this amazing arena, here are a couple of things you should know. The first thing you should do is unroll the bundle, and that's sometimes called a flitch, and then begin to tape all the individual pieces, and those are usually called leaves. This will keep them from splitting or splitting worse, although that can be invisibly repaired. Yeah, check out that amazing curl or figure. And the other thing you want to do is number them to keep them in this sequential order. Yeah. You've probably heard me mention this before, but anytime you're building a large chest of drawers or anything that has a lot of doors, a lot of drawer fronts, and they're all lined up, it's really important to use leg levelers because floors simply are not flat, and that entire piece could rack on an uneven floor. Although the way I construct mine, they can't rack, but if they can't rack, then they will rock. So leg levelers are a must. Well, I lost some of the footage, but what I wanted to share is that this cavity for a light was cut in with the shaper origin. Super accurate. See that? About 3/16 plus 64th over or something. And boom. That is accurate, right? And now that I've done that, I can put a valance here to hide this light that only sticks up maybe, I don't know, 5/16 or about 8 mm, right? Beautiful. And then this area here will get a light. And this dude, right? Magnets up in here. This is actually motion detected, so when this door opens, this will come on automatically. This guy goes like, boom. So this is rechargeable, just has a little USB, and they last for months. We've got tons of these in the house. They've lasted for years. Absolutely love these. These are by Hayfella. Hey fella, however you want to say that. Cool, right? Here I am at my panther router, and I'm cutting these little grooves, I guess you'd call them, in this little shelf. And I'm using this these spoon type shelf pins, and I just want that little groove to keep the shelf from moving forward when someone, pulls something off the shelf. Pretty easy setup with the panel router. I can line that up, something like that, add a clamp, and make the cut. You can see the setup is pretty simple. Just have a sacrificial board here so I don't hit the aluminum table, a square chunk of wood to hold the shelf in place. Nothing too tricky on this end. I just have this stop that I've made, this little block of wood, right? And I can lock that in place. I've used it before when I'm using these vertical templates, and then another stop up here that's just clamped, and that limits the stylus from going up too high, or that gives me the depth of cut this direction. And the beauty of this is that I can use the stylus to create the width of this by moving the stylus in and out. Since these templates are tapered, I can fine tune that fit. Once I like it, I just lock this dude in place. Fantastic. And then this dude goes right in there like that. All right, here we go. When I first started this, I wanted to use plain cherry, plain sawn, for all the solid lumber and figure cherry for the panels. I had no idea the beautiful and dramatic effect that it would have. I just got lucky. Here, if you look at those 2 bottom drawers, or actually the 6 bottom drawers, that grain from one panel to the other, from left to right, it continues. It goes straight across. But if you look at the 2 top drawers, they were narrow. I thought it would look odd. So what I did there is I end matched those. So in other words, I was able to use 2 different sheets and end match that grain. So it's a mirror image, but end matched instead of book matched. And with an overall shot like this, you can see the beautiful dynamic that's created with using solid wood in a plain slice and then the figured cherry veneer. These nightstands are about 22 inches square and maybe 28 tall. Nothing too tricky. Door and drawer with a shelf at the bottom. Oh, but wait, there's more. And boom! Little secret drawer. That drawer front is hidden as a top rail of the nightstand, right? Gotta love it. I just recently started integrating backsplashes on furniture pieces like these, and customers absolutely love it. I guess it goes back to the old cabinet and countertop guy in me. Integrated, coved, and as seamless as possible. And I intentionally allow the countertop to overhang the back. That way it clears the baseboard down below. I mentioned careful indexing of the veneer earlier, and of course, grain choice of the solid wood plays an important role. I use straight grain wherever possible, and note the stiles near the legs. That's from the same board, so all that grain lines up. All of the stiles were made that way, and horizontally, or the rails, were done this way as well. In this shot, this center door, or including this center door, you can see those 5 rails, or those 5 pieces those all came from the same piece of wood. Doing this is super fun, but it can be expensive because you're using more material. I also took this process in the handles. Here you can see perfect grain alignment. And even though the casual observer may not notice this, I believe it gives a piece an overall harmonious and cohesive look. Alright, so here's a shot of that automatic lighting, and I decided to do a partial shelf, which makes that interior a more usable space and easier to reach. This was a request by my awesome client, and it's a fabulous idea. It's a simple way to charge your phone overnight. It frees up the space and there's no unsightly cord, and when that technology goes away, because we know it will, you could simply cut the cord and there would be no trace of that ever being there. This stuff is my favorite. Alright, so on each side of this dresser, down at the bottom, that horizontal furniture component, known as a rail, boom! It's a 22-inch deep drawer. I'll probably have another YouTube video showing the construction of these hidden drawers, and soon I'll have another ebook called Hidden in Plain Sight. Well, there you have it. I still have a matching bed to make, so I better get to work, and I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this. Thanks a ton for watching.